Welcome to Squeal on Vent TV Channel 31. I'm Amy Henderson, and let me introduce our Squealers for tonight. We're starting over here with Monique, Neil, and Perri over here. And our first guests for this evening are Michael Kelly and Nan McGregor. Make them welcome. Oh, and behind me, yes, is Dennis Whitcomb. Let's hear it for Dennis. Silent clap. Now, Michael Kelly and Nan McGregor are wearing their rainbow sashes. You're both part of the rainbow sash movement, yeah?
They look very gay.
They look very gay. That's strange.
I'm gay for the day.
Gay for the day. So tell us a little bit about Rainbow Sash. What is it you do? There's been huge public... Look, Michael Kelly's famous this week. What is it you actually do? You go into churches wearing the rainbow sash?
It's really very simple. We turn up to Sunday Mass from time to time. We don't do it every week. It would drive us nuts if we did. We write to the bishop beforehand. We tell them we're coming, that the sash means we're gay and lesbian people who embrace our sexuality as a sacred gift, and that we call the church for change and dialogue. And then we turn up to Mass. During the opening hymn we put on the sash. We say the prayers, we sing the hymns. Some of us contribute to the collection.
They'll take it.
Sometimes
They don't refuse that, do they?
Sometimes they do, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Your money.
There's one guy who refuses. Anyway.
Oh, wow.
Well, he won't put the thing in the seat. It's quite funny, actually.
And yet, Michael, at the last one at Pentecost Sunday in Melbourne, one of our, and we were predominantly parents who demonstrated there, one of the mothers grabbed his little velvet collection bag and wouldn't give it back, flashing her money around until he saw the media cameras, and he smiled nicely. Lorraine put her money in, away they went.
It's amazing what it
Oh
can
my
do.
goodness.
And then we go up to communion in the normal way, and we're all refused. And we come back and we stand up in silence in our seats where we are, making a kind of silent statement.
So what do they actually say when they refuse you? What do they?
It varies. It used to be, I'm sorry I can't give you communion, which by the way is a really unusual, serious thing in our church. It almost never happens. But would you like a blessing? Then it became blessing. And
Is that like second-rate communion?
well, it kind of is. Yeah, we don't hate you. You know, we exclude you from the most intimate life of the church, but no, we don't hate you. You know. I think it's about them.
We just don't like it.
And I read in the papers too that you guys went up to, did you go, Nan, or was it just you, Michael, went up to Sydney?
I went to see.
That was on the news. And apparently when you went up for communion there, Pell said, I can't help you.
That's what he said to me. I can't help you.
But what a strange thing is that, what, like you need help and you're beyond help or something?
What
What does
it's obvious
that
you can't help me. I can probably help you. I think he was...
So you won't be doing them, will you?
Oh my goodness.
It was a really ineffective lame, trivial kind of response, you know? I mean, from a spiritual leader in the 21st century, and on as complex and profound an issue as homosexuality, you would expect that he could do better than that.
Yeah.
It's about par for the course with his Adam and Steve comment.
Oh, isn't that boring?
We talked about that last week. That is so original, Monique.
Yeah, I mean, even John Laws said that was childish.
He's a creative man.
The funny thing is, as we know, there are gay men and lesbians in the church anyway. Excuse my ignorance, I don't know anything about it, but they take communion as well, don't they?
Most gay people in the church would normally go to mass. And
So
receive communion.
surely a priest will know
Well, by the way, of course,
someone that...
quite often the person giving communion is gay as well.
So how can they refuse you then when they know they've done it before? Anyway,
I think just
they've
about-
given communion to a gay
Well, it's
man
because
or-
the sash is firstly
Like a
becoming
statement.
visible, right? And secondly, it is a challenge. You know, it's saying we won't be silent, we won't be hidden. We don't accept the deal, which is that if we'll be, you know, discreet enough, we can be a full part of the church's life, and that just allows all the prejudices and the harsh teachings and the sackings of teachers to just go on. We want to challenge that, and so the challenge is what makes them refuse communion.
So if you didn't have the sash on, so next time
theoretically-
you went, if you didn't have the sash, they would give you communion.
Theoretically, although you were saying that you've
Yeah.
been refused communion.
Yeah, on the...
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Amy. You wrong with me.
No,
I apologise to Amy.
but the point is, too, you were refused communion and you're not gay. What is the, just because you're wearing the sash?
Only
you
an honorary
haven't done
gay person.
anything. So-
Pell told me to take the sash off and he'd give me communion, and to me that is arrant hypocrisy, and I was not going to be part of anything so hypocritical. It would have been a repudiation of my gay son and wonderful people like Michael and my friends, and I was not going to be a part of that, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, because that hidden thing that only just feeds into discrimination and
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean,
And what I don't understand is that everyone, you know, according to the Bible, is born a sinner. Why is homosexuality so bad, and why can a priest or a minister or a pastor judge homosexuality as worse than any other sin?
well, see, if we said it was a sin, and we're sorry for it, or we admit it to
That would,
sin,
yeah.
we could get communion. But you see, we don't accept it as a sin. We say it's a gift of God, that it's a sacred thing to be celebrated and embraced, and the church needs to learn from us. The church has got this deep neurosis, this deep pathology around human sexuality. It almost always has had. Celibacy, you know, feeds into that. Sex abuse is a manifestation of that. The cover-ups are a manifestation of this deep neurosis. The only way it's going to change is if, you know, people who have worked through their own shit stand up and say, this is not what God's saying in our lives, you know. We're not going to put up with this kind of double dealing. We're going to call for change.
There was a letter in MCV about saying that maybe that they sort of agree they're gay and Catholic, but they think that the rainbow sash is a little too confrontationalist. How do you respond to things like that? Do you think maybe there's another way to go about it, Nan, or do you think this is the best way?
I think it's the best way. And bearing in mind that a lot of the people who participate in Rainbow Sash are parents. And we're saying you cannot treat our children in this way. Now, for us, the majority of us who've had kids go through the Catholic education system, the only experience we have is that our kids were tormented, were victimised, you know, by a church system which embraces love. And I think the Catholic Church is obsessed by sex, absolutely obsessed. Turn your energies to fighting the real obscenities in this life.
We have to cross to the news desk now, but and today our news desk is Sherelle Moody from B News. Take it away, Sherelle.
In B News today, AIDS Council head risks murder charges to ease HIV suffering. Victorian AIDS Council President Dr Darren Russell risks jail and deregistration as he speaks out about helping more than 20 HIV/AIDS patients die over the past 11 years. He believes that unless the issue is discussed openly, euthanasia laws will never be made. The Victorian AIDS Council President and Prime Market Clinic doctor graduated in 1987, not knowing that his pledge to save lives would involve helping to take lives. It started in about 1991, he said. At that time, there were a lot of people dying with HIV. We used to lose one person about a fortnight. Comcar driver escapes charge. The Comcar driver who concocted the car record at the centre of the Justice Kirby affair will not be prosecuted. The New South Wales Director of Public Prosecutions said that an assessment of a police brief had found insufficient evidence to prove Wayne Patterson committed a criminal offence. Liberal Senator Bill Heffernan relied on the fake document in making his allegations 2 months ago that High Court Justice Michael Kirby pursued male prostitutes. The key document was passed as a record of journeys taken in 1994 by Justice Kirby and various politicians. Golden Girl at Games. Direct from a smash hit Broadway season, show business icon Bea Arthur will make her long overdue Australian debut at the 2002 Sydney Gay Games. The star of Maude, Mammy and the Golden Girls, Arthur will recall the highlights of her career with stories and songs. Tickets are on sale now. Details sydney2002.org.au. Homophobia sends teachers back to school. More than 1,000 Victorian teachers will learn how to deal with homophobic bullies this year. The Australian Research Centre in Sex, Health and Society project will see community liaison officers visit metropolitan and regional schools to show staff how to make schools safer places for same-sex attracted young people. Back to Squealers.
Thanks, Sherelle. Vic, you wanted to tell us something about
Very quickly,
Lifeblood.
Lifeblood's a new publication, or relatively new publication, Victorian AIDS Council Gay Men's Health Centre produces, and I've got a couple of copies here for you to have a look at. And it's a bunch of articles relating to gay men, and importantly in this issue we've got a survey. And the issue is out now, so it's in the middle of MCV, so wherever you get an MCV you can get Lifeblood. And we want you to fill out the survey, send it back to us. You can win a great prize. It's a mystery prize, so you won't know.
Mystery prize?
Yeah,
That means you don't even know what it is, do you?
I won't tell you. But it's meant to be fantastic. And the idea basically of the survey is let us know what you think of the paper and the articles. And we've had really good feedback so far, and it's quite a good publication. Check it out. As I said, with your MCV, wherever you get MCV, you'll get Lifeblood. So check it out. Yeah.
One more thing, just before I go on to next year's, before we lose you guys, I wanted to ask one thing that you said that, the Catholic Church and could maybe learn a lot from the gay community and vice versa, because the gay community could do with some spirituality. And I just wanted to know or bring up why Catholic spirituality? I definitely agree, maybe we could do with some spirituality, but why the Catholic Church? Why not, uniting church? Spirituality is in many.
I mean, I'm speaking as a person who's challenging the Catholic Church and coming out of the gay community. And so I'm speaking from my tradition. I'm not saying that's the only tradition, but the Catholic heritage has immense richness in sacraments, in mysticism, in prayer and in justice. Incredible work for justice around the world. And if the gay community and the religious traditions like the Catholic Church that people have been disenfranchised from could dialogue, we all might benefit.
Sure. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Nan and Michael.
Pleasure.
And we'll see you after the break with another segment. Welcome back to Squeal on Bent TV, Channel 31. This is a half-hour show tonight, so this is our last segment. I don't know if you've been watching lately, but that's the way it goes. Monique has got something very important to tell us.
Yeah, thanks. I just stuffed jelly beans in my mouth.
I knew that too.
I know it is. Kylie's back. We're going to have a concert in August, so all the Kylie fans, sensational. And something pretty important, first time ever, Jerusalem's had its first gay pride march. About 2,500 people turned up, switching cameras on me. But, yeah, not a foreskin in sight.
Oh, no!
So, yeah, that's pretty
And that's
big.
important to you, isn't it?
Well,
Monique?
Neil, save me! Neil!
Well, a man got bitten on the penis by... I think I want to read the rest of this. I much prefer this story, the one about the girl who's got school phobia.
School phobia.
Yeah, I think I had that. Yeah,
I think we all did.
Oh, it was actually quite serious. She had suffered from certain things. What is it here? She took 6 weeks off because of a rib injury, and then she was nervous about going back, and then she got the flu. So it was one thing after another, and eventually she found she couldn't go to school without crying and shaking fits. So it was decided that she could be exempted.
Oh, excellent.
To ease her back in. So
I wish I'd thought of that too. Okay, look,
okay, kids, that's how you get out of it.
Excuse being scared of it.
yeah, we might actually introduce Leonie Walker. She's from Uniting Network. Everyone make her welcome. Thank you very much for being with us. We're actually coming, we've been generously given space by Uniting Network to film today, and you're having a conference this weekend. Tell us about that. It's for...
The conference is called Daring to Celebrate.
Yep.
And it's a gathering of the Uniting Network, which are gay, lesbian, bisexual and transgender people in the Uniting Church, and their families and friends. And we've had these gatherings every 2 years since 1994. It's a way of people from across the country getting together and getting encouragement and support from each other, from sharing together in worship and talking about issues in the church in relation to sexuality.
Well, we've heard about Michael in the Catholic Church, I guess, and the problems that face homosexual people in the Catholic Church. What about the Uniting Church? Do you find is there a lot of negative feeling towards homosexuality in the Uniting Church, or are they a little more
Do they accept your
accepting?
money?
Yeah, I've never had anyone turn my money down. I think the theme of the conference is worth talking about. We're talking about daring to celebrate, and the reason is that we believe that in the Uniting Church, gay and lesbian people do have a lot to celebrate. In particular, we're celebrating 20 years since the National Assembly Committee made a decision that sexual orientation in and of itself is not a bar to ordination to the ministry, and we're wanting to really claim that as an inclusive statement that says all people are welcome in the Uniting Church, and are welcome not just to participate and to sit in the pews, but to be involved in ministry, to share their gifts and skills.
So that's
So
a
there
pretty much
are-
a basic difference between Uniting and the Catholic Church then.
Well, I'd say
Will
the
the
basic
Catholic
difference
Church
is-
ever do that? Or?
The basic difference is structural. If the Catholic Church had the sort of structures of consultation and involvement of people and even ministers in decision making, we would have those sorts of
That would
things
have
too.
happened, yeah,
It's
yeah.
just that it's such a totalitarian structure. So we envy the United Church's fights, actually.
Too much
it's
dogma.
good, it's life.
Well, there are some individual priests, aren't there? I mean, like Fred Nile, for instance, is a Uniting Church minister. isn't he?
Yeah.
He is.
You've got to admit that.
He's
yeah.
not
We've got
actually-
Perri, you've got Fred Nile. I mean, come on.
He's not actually employed by the Uniting Church
Isn't
at the
he?
moment.
Oh, right.
But there is there are a range of views in the Uniting Church, and there are people who don't agree with gay and lesbian people being fully included and being in ordained ministry. But as Michael says, the structures that we have mean that we can have the discussion, and in the process of the discussion over the last 10 and 20 years even, that there have been big changes in the way the people in the Uniting Church think about it, and the level of openness and the level of affirmation. And there are lots of places where there is a lot of support for gay and lesbian people, but there's still some difficulties.
So how long's the conference been
challenge.
going for?
We started meeting last night, Friday night, and we're going till Monday lunchtime, so it's just the long weekend.
Good attendance?
Yes, yeah, we've got people from Western Australia, South Australia, New South Wales and Victoria, so we were pleased that people have been able to
And
travel.
the interesting thing is, well, Michael and Nan have come to the conference. So, what do you get out of the conference, the Uniting Church conference?
Well,
It was-
firstly, I think we're all coming from the same
Yeah.
basic heritage of Christianity and dealing with the same sort of issues. So it's great to get a sense of solidarity, to hear how other people are doing it in their churches. and to feel that we're not just isolated little fragments in our bigger institutions, that we actually can support each other. So it's great. It's great to be here. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's excellent that it's inclusive too.
And Michael and Nan are actually both leading workshops as part of the conference, so we've invited them specifically to share with us from their
And what do you
journey
hope
as
to
well.
achieve by the end of the conference? How do you want to move forward?
I guess we're still in the early stages of the conference, and we haven't talked about that in detail. But there will be a session where we talk about what our visions are for the church, and what are the kinds of strategic actions that we might want to take to help the church move to being more inclusive.
So you'll have a set of recommendations that you'll send off to the big boss?
Probably not quite that formal. And in actual fact, there's not really one big boss. I mean, there's the president of
That'd be God, wouldn't it?
I don't think it's got.
I don't think God needs our
recommendations.
yeah.
But is it sort of recommendations about how you see you fit, how you see the gays and lesbians fit within the Uniting Church?
Yeah, a lot of the people who are at this conference have been involved in the past at various levels, the state level, a more local level, and at the national level, in the regular annual meetings that make those kinds of decisions, and we are able to bring proposals to those. So that's something that we'll be considering.
Yeah. What about overseas? And I was thinking of the Catholic Church as well. To compare, say, the United States, are they just as liberal or you're on the sort of same level?
The Uniting Church isn't actually an international church because it formed in Australia from the three traditions of the Methodist, Presbyterian and Congregationalists. But the similar churches in the US, there are Methodists and there are Presbyterians, and some of those denominations in the States are more affirming of gay and lesbian people than we are, and some have even got to the point of celebrating same-sex marriages or blessings of relationships.
Ask that.
Yeah.
And others aren't as accepting. There's a range, and I think the Uniting Church, we're quite proud of where we are on that range in some ways.
Yeah.
But there's
a lot more
definitely more.
Sure. Well, we're going to have another instalment from Sherelle Moody on the Bean News Desk.
Thanks, Amy. Continuing the queer Christianity theme in this week's events, the Fundraising Committee of Metropolitan Community Church of Melbourne invites you to the annual Queer Trivia Night for heaps of fun, surprises and lots of prizes. Bring your own drinks and nibbles and the church will provide a sensational supper. It's on June 22 at 7:30pm and the venue is Melbourne Community Church, 271 Burnley Street, Burnley. And you can get more details by calling 9802 8523. Volunteers needed. Come and be a part of a fun and dedicated team of volunteers and experience the many rewards of working in an innovative and exciting new centre for people living with HIV/AIDS. Needed are operations, administration and kitchen volunteers and massage therapists. Call 9863 0444 for more details. Educating Pride. The Pride and Diversity Project provides a service for same-sex attracted young people and those questioning their sexuality in the city of Monash. The project will develop an educational package for schools. They need help, so give them a call on 9561 7359. Back to you, Amy.
Great, thanks Sherelle. We're almost out, but I might get Leonie, do you have a contact number if anyone's interested in getting in touch with the Uniting Network? Have you got an email address or something?
The easiest email address would be the one for the conference, which is daring2002 at hotmail.com, and that will get in touch with us and we can...
Sure, excellent. And if you're interested in getting in contact with Rainbow Sash, how can we do that?
Yep, the website is www.rainbowsash.com. Very straightforward.
That's very easy.
We've worked on it. Or our secretary's number is 0412 073 081.
Excellent. And do you see any change in the church
look, I think
in the future?
there's enormous changes going on. I mean, in many ways, what you're seeing from people like George Pell is this frantic attempt to keep the lid on a boiling pot. You know, there's enormous stuff going on right across the board in Australia and internationally, and it's really a backlash from the Conservatives trying to hold on to a ship that's already moved ahead.
it's very, very slow. I mean, the Catholic Church hasn't essentially changed in hundreds of years.
Well, it's not true.
So
The Catholic Church, well, the churches generally approved of slavery for 1800 years. They often don't tell you that when they say the church never changes. There are religious orders in America who owned slaves in the 1840s. Now today, they would say that's intrinsically evil, and it is. They've said for a long time that homosexuality or that same-sex acts were wrong, but we've had enormous discoveries in psychology and anthropology, in cultural studies, in sociology and biology, and even society, which would have said that now, is saying this is a normal, affirming part of human nature. The church will get there, but we've got to work hard to move it on.
I guess we've got a very conservative Pope at the moment.
We have to. Fortunately, probably not for much longer.
That's right. There's a horrible thing to say.
It's about to go.
It was only last week.
So you'll keep
okay.
Oh, definitely.
Well, unfortunately, that's all we've got for tonight. This is our last segment, and we're off. Thank you very much to all our guests. Thank you very much to all our guests, Michael Kelly, Nan McGregor, and Leonie Walker. Thank you very much. And thank you to Dennis. Dennis isn't in the credits, so Dennis gets his own credit. And thanks all our Squealers. And thanks Uniting Network for giving us space. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
See you.